on this episode of Raptor's Garage.
We're going to need a lot more beer. Hey guys, welcome back to Raptor's Garage. Oh, Jesus. Hey guys, welcome back to Raptor's Garage, and we have got a busy weekend ahead of us because we're going to be doing the full 2-inch suspension lift on my red Disco. We're going to take you around all of the stuff that I've been purchasing. Guys, this is not a budget build. I'm building this truck for the long term, so I've spent a lot of money on this. I've tried to get the best that you can possibly do, and I've based a lot of that on exactly what Paul has done with Heimdall. I've had the luck and fortune that basically I've seen what Paul's done over the last couple of years to his. It's been tried and tested, taken out to the Pyrenees, we've gone green laning, and he's made the changes over these last couple of years. You've seen all the videos, so I'm basically trying to replicate what he's done with his vehicle. And I'm very lucky to have Paul help me do this because I won't be able to do this on my top. So guys, we basically started filming a day early just to take you around all the stuff we're going to be doing, and then we've got Saturday, the Sunday, and then Monday, if all goes according to plan, I'll be taking it down to Lodge Tyres, down in Torque, where they've actually got equipment big enough to basically make sure that everything's lined up and everything's running as it should be. So guys, hope you enjoy these next few videos, and we're going to start doing this 2-inch suspension lift. So guys, starting at the back of the vehicle, and we're going to start with the tyres. These are Toyo 33 by 12.5 by 15. They're open country mud terrain tyres. Now, as you know guys, we feature them in our opening credits, and they do help us out with stuff for competitions like giveaways, t-shirts and stuff like that. Toyo have never supplied us with any tyres. I purchased these. They pretty much were the only tyre I was going to go for because we've been running them on the L200, we've been running on Paul's Disco for the last couple of years. We think they're a cracking tyre. I paid about £125 per tyre for these. They last phenomenally well. They've done fantastic on my L200. I do a lot of road driving with that as well, and they're surprisingly quiet. You'd think with obviously such a chunky tyre, you get a lot of noise from them. These are wrapped around Gojo 15-inch tyres with a 32mm offset on them. And then with those, we've got basically the Terra Firma springs for the rear, same for the front. Terra Firma springs have a 2-inch lift on them, and they're rated for the additional weight. I'm going to stick all the details of which ones because they all come with their own individual codes and everything for that. We don't do any work with Terra Firma. We'd love to, guys, if you're watching, because we highly rate their products. If you've watched all the videos that we've done over the last sort of 18 months, you'll see Paul has changed pretty much most of the underside of his vehicle to Terra Firma parts. He's run them, he's tested them, and hence the reason that's why I've gone for a lot of the Terra Firma parts for the suspension setup. One of the other things, if you've seen the video on these, I've gone for Terra Firma's big bore expedition shocks, and we're not joking when we say they're big bore. So by the time we've got all the extra weight on the vehicle, these are fantastic. These worked brilliantly on the last Pyrenees trip that we did for Paul. Takes out a lot of the sort of wobbling and the vibration, especially when you've got the roof tent on the top. So I've got these obviously running on the back and the front. Now, middle of the vehicle. Okay, so running down the drivetrain now, we're changing the prop shaft. We're basically going to get rid of the rubber donut that is on the original Discovery ones. When we do that, I'll get Paul to explain a lot more about what exactly it is we do, because I'm not going to pretend I understand fully all about that. We've got a prop shaft and a kit in order to do that. We've also got a 10mm spacer from Adrenaline 4x4 to make up for that 2-inch lift that we're going to do at the back. You can sometimes take a bit of the sort of excess play out of that prop shaft. We've got terra firma, basically braided stainless steel hoses ready to go on, the extended brake hoses obviously because we're doing the lift. We've got the full Gwyn Lewis wading kit that we're going to be putting on. We've got a new ball joint for the A-frame, again something else from Gwyn Lewis. It's basically got the extended travel on it, and it's also a greasable ball joint. And the weld-on diff protector. Now we have spoken in the past that if you look at those bolt-on ones that you can get, where you basically kind of have a strap around the diff and you bolt them on, the water essentially can just sit inside there and just basically rust your diff away. With this one, weld it in place, and basically there's plenty of room there for your water to actually fall out. That's probably going to be done in a later video because obviously there's a lot more work involved in doing that, but I brought it along because it's one of the things we're going to be fitting over the next couple of months. We've got the cranked trailing arms, heavy duty ones. They're going to go on the rear, and I also picked up from Gwyn Lewis while I was ordering bits and pieces. Basically I've got 5 of these magnetic diff plugs, so basically your filler plug and your drain plug you can use, so obviously you can pick up any traces of any metal that's floating around in your gearbox and your diffs. Now further over on this side of me, I've also got some other Gwyn Lewis parts that Paul had lying around the shop and kindly gave to me. One is your dislocation relocation cone for the springs, and also on the rear we've got these Gwyn Lewis spring retainers, but this one's got a 25mm lift on it. Now the reason we've got this, we've got a standard one as well, but we're just going to basically see how things pan out, because I want to be able to take 4 seats in this vehicle and have the 2 kids sat in the back. Obviously I'm going to end up with a lot more of my equipment pushed right to the back of the vehicle, plus I'm going to be obviously having bigger tyres on the back, probably a couple of jerry cans. We're going to be building a bumper for the rear, so we're just going to see how it kind of pans out, whether we need to kind of put an extra 25mm in to help keep the chuck on a kind of like nice even keel. Okay guys, by the time we get to the front of the vehicle we should be at least halfway through that crate of beer. So on the front, terra firma heavy duty dry flanges. I've got the 50mm extended bump stops from Gwyn Lewis. Obviously we're not trying to restrict the articulation, what we're trying to do is make sure that the bigger tyres aren't going to go ramming through the top of the vehicle. You've got to fit the extended bumpers basically to compensate for the fact that you're running bigger tyres. Dixon Fabrication, I have ordered their Deluxe bumper, which should be with me in the next couple of weeks. I've already got the steering guard that has come through. Guys, this is awesome, absolutely fantastic piece of kit. I can't wait to see it on the vehicle. I can't wait to get my hands on the bumper. It looks cracking, but obviously they build these things to order. So Ian's been great. I basically spoke to Ian and I should have that in the next couple of weeks, but we're going to do a standalone video of us fitting that. Up at the front, you know guys that are basically James at Adrenaline 4x4 helped us out with the grey room project. I purchased these from Adrenaline because I was so impressed with the equipment that he'd basically given to Paul to do that project, is that I just knew I wanted it on the front of my vehicle. So I've got the steering arms, obviously plus the ball joints, and I've got their rose jointed adjustable panhard rod. Guys, if you're doing any kind of lift on your vehicle, you have to fit an adjustable panhard rod. It doesn't need to be the top of the range one like this. They do plenty of ones on the various Land Rover dealers that aren't too expensive, 50, 60 quid. But you've got to be able to make those adjustments once you've done your raise, because all of your wheels are basically being pulled out of alignment. As I said before, we're going to take the vehicle down to Lodge Tyres, which is fortunately for us only about 20 minutes away from here. Once this is all done Monday, we're going to line it up as best we can. I'm still going to take it to professionals, get them to get all the gear on it to line it up properly. Do your research, because you'll take this to a normal tyre fitting company, they won't have the gear big enough. I've taken the L200, which is only running 285s, on it to my local guys, and they just looked at it and they said, we've never had this, we just don't have equipment big enough to put on those tyres. So obviously make sure you do maybe some phone calls and just check, if you're running big tyres like this, that your tyre company or your tyre fitters have got the equipment to do it. And then finally on the front, we've got the Terra Firma RTC, which is the return to centre, beg your pardon. So we're going to get rid of basically the steering dampener on the existing disco, and we're going to use this Terra Firma RTC, which you would have seen Paul fit on his in a previous video, and obviously that RTC basically just helps with such big tyres, just bring everything back on the steer and makes it a little bit less effort than it normally would be. And finally, at the front, cranked caster arms for the front. We've got some heavy duty cone retainers, and obviously the big bore shocks to go on the front. Now you might be asking why we haven't got any heavy duty cones. Now again, if you've watched any of our previous videos, you'll see that Paul did have the heavy duty cones on his vehicle originally, and then he fitted these big bore shocks. What he found though is that these shocks are basically just that bit too big. They're basically knocking on the side of those heavy duty cones. Now if you watch the video, you'll see exactly why it's the way they're made. So for the time being, Paul's done it, we've not had any issues. We're going to stick with the standard cones. Again, we'll just stick those heavy duty retainers in, and we're fitting these terra firma big bore shocks. And we're going to do all that over the next couple of days.
I thought it was the next couple of hours.
Okay,
Get that beer open.
So guys, we're back. Basically yesterday, as you saw, gave you a quick introduction, and we spent a few hours then. We've got the rear bumper off and we've got the front bumper off. So what we're going to do temporarily is I've ordered the Dulux winch bumper from Dixon Fabrication. Dulux Discovery winch bumper. So Ian's busy making it up for me at the moment, the Dulux one.
The Dulux one.
And that's going to look, I tell you guys, that is awesome. Can't wait to get that. But in the time being, Paul's basically just going to let me stick on the winch bumper that came with Grey Worm. So we'll put a winch bumper on the front, and then we'll do a whole video of fitting the new one once it turns up. But now we're going to basically get stuck in, get the wheels off the rear, get it supported on axle stands. We've said to the guys before, when you're doing this, yes, you're going to need what are those things called that we use? A jack.
Jack.
Yeah, jack's coming along.
Yeah.
But you need
Come on, Jack.
You'll need a jack under your, obviously your axle, but that is not supporting the car. You've got to support the vehicle
because we're going to drop the axle
chassis
off.
rails, because we're dropping the axle off. So we'll only be using that jack to basically lift and raise the axle itself. So guys, we're going to start stripping this down. Follow along as we do it. Obviously we're against the time limit, so we're not going to keep stop and doing bits to camera, but you can
basically
watch now.
Can't be bothered talking to you.
Yeah,
sorry.
It's a lot to do. Otherwise I can't get home.
He's not getting home.
No.
Right, let's get started. Come on. Do you want to just get my big breaker bar?
Yeah, I think so. It has consequences, because someone commented the other day, we were talking about how close you were to those wheels coming off on the big one. And he actually got a picture of his disco, the wheel had come off, and he said it's because idiots had over tightened it, sheared the bolts at some point then, because it over tightened the nuts on the wheels. Yeah,
there are 120 something odd Newton meters they should be torqued up to. The one thing I always do is torque up me wheel nuts properly. Yeah, they're tight. Breaker bar. Leverage wins.
Brute force and ignorance every time.
We have plenty of brute force and ignorance. Plasma cutter.
So we're going to do a drop on this, aren't we? We're going for the low slung.
Yeah, what we thought we'd do is do like the chop it, drop it, get some Euro stance going on.
Yeah,
yeah.
Smart. So we're going to
so the wheels are pissed up and at that angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Liking the look of that.
Yep. So that's it. That's the spring cut done, guys.
First Discovery lowrider in the UK.
This is how we roll. We are gangster. Guys, we're cracking on with this job now. You've seen us, we've chopped through the springs. We've taken the remains of the old bump stops off. We've taken the shocks off, and we're taking the what the hell do you call, Chris?
Trailing arms.
Yeah, trailing arms, radius arms. And it's only 10:30. So you know where it is now, don't you?
Too right.
10:30, Saturday morning. Yeah, Mr. Marper.
Right. Oh.
Breakfast?
Yeah, sorted.
Cool. Let's get dangerous tools out and drink beer.
And my stomach settled after yesterday's pie. That was not good.
He nearly died.
Yeah. 2:30 this morning, I'm thinking, oh, I've got such a busy day, and half an hour, I'm still sat here, pins and needles in your leg.
You didn't want to know that, did you? Yeah, we're just looking at these rubber seats for the tops of the springs, and the ones we've come out to Chrissy's are toasted, but luckily I had another set, if we can find them. But there's the first radius arming, guys. All its nice blue poly bushes. Chrissy's been chucking Ferrous ink all over the chassis. We are going to properly obviously we've got welding to do on this truck, but he wants to get it running first so that he can actually go away. But we've got welding up there, which you can't see because that's too dark. The chassis itself's we've got one plate to put in there, which is usual for these disco chassis. We did it on the other one not long ago. And there's a little bit somewhere else, but there's big things afoot, and things are going to be getting changed quite quickly soon, so you're going to have to stay tuned for that, and I'm not telling you what it's going to be. But we're getting on with this. We're probably we're an hour away from having this back finished. And then we're on to doing the A-frame ball joint. We're going to whip the A-frame out, put new poly bushes in it. Obviously do the brake pipe, and we're going to do the rear prop shaft, because Chris is going to delete the rubber donuts from the 300 and do it down to the 200 TDI setup. But at the moment he's hunting for... sorry guys. At the moment he's running around hunting for bits that I've given him in the past. Is it in the big cardboard box? Progressing, we're getting there. That looks better, doesn't it?
Once again, Paul's impressing me with his patience of getting that shock absorber bolt on.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that in a minute, guys. I'll just show you this first. That's one side done. Springs in, shocks in, new radius arm. It's got a 25mm spacer in the in the spring to lift it. So it's actually a 3-inch lift on the rear, and it'll be a 2-inch lift on the front, because Chris is going to be carrying a lot of weight in that. But let's have a look in there. So we've had one issue, and it's sort of, let me turn this camera around. There you go. We've had one issue. My brother knocked the beer over. So,
which ruins the video, sorry guys.
So you can cry now that the beer's been spilled, and we've damaged one of the threads on one of the shocks. It wouldn't start. What we hadn't done was clean all the rust out of the bottom of the seat, and it just left it shy, and it stripped the edge off the bottom of the thread. So I'm just waiting for my brother to come back, because he did spill the beer, to see if he's got a 14mm by 1.5 die to run up the thread to clean it out, and we should be able to save it. So, but yeah, Chris is working hard on this side.
So bump stops in, extended bump stops in.
Hang on, it's a bit dark in there. There we go.
Bump stop, dislocation, relocation cone, whatever you want to call it.
Pointy bit of difficult metal that's hard to get in.
Which is a pain to get the bolts to drop them in. Up here, we took the shock mount off, just basically clean behind it, get rid of rust, just throwing some ferrous ink everywhere for now.
I was just going to say, if you're wondering what all the stuff is over the chassis, guys, it's just ferrous ink to stop the rust.
Yeah, trying to get a few of the places that'd be hard to get to when I give it a proper clean and start painting it. So yeah, keep spotting more rust that'll need to be sorted at some point, but it's pretty good. It's the body, isn't it? The body more so than the chassis. The chassis is in good nick. The body is
there's 3 plates on, 3 very small plates on the chassis to do, so it's not that bad. And we've still got a secret that we're keeping to ourselves, aren't we?
Yeah, because it may change.
No, it won't.
It's changed 3 times in the last 24 hours.
No, this one's staying.
I think this one's.
This
one's happening, and it might be starting as soon as this is finished.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So there's your teaser, guys. It's going to happen.
Plenty more builds coming up, guys.
And we're going to get this side together, and we'll be back once we've got the other wheel on. Chris in his newfound natural habitat, covered in grease, lying under a Land Rover going, she kept an L200. Well, this is the aftermath of yesterday. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning now, and I'll just show you exactly where we're up to. We didn't do a lot of filming yesterday, so, well, we did a lot, but we didn't actually have time to speak to the camera. So, first job I'm going to be doing is putting this new A-frame ball joint back in. Now, just over there in that pile is the A-frame in pieces. Now that was an absolute pig of a job to get out. It must have taken best part of an hour to get it out, probably a bit longer because I ended up having to plasma cut this bolt out. So first job, I'm going to assemble that, get all the components in it. There's a new set of bushes somewhere, some of those blue poly bushes, so get that in. But my next job is to replace that prop shaft. Now it's alright that end because it's just the 4 ordinary prop shaft bolts, but I've got to change the donut out on the back, so deleting that from being a 300 TDI prop shaft to a 200 TDI prop shaft. But I got the extended brake pipes in, they're in up there. You just make them out in the distance. I swapped them out yesterday. Chrissy's gone mad with ferrous ink and put it on everything. We are missing one of the shock absorbers because I did damage the thread on it putting it in, so we've got to go and get a new tap for that tomorrow, a new die to recut the thread. That's quite cool, doesn't it? This truck's got a long way to go, it's got a lot of work. There's a lot of welding on the body. There's going to be the inner wings, sills, rear wheel arches, inner wing liners in the back, boot floor. Like I said, we're getting this done now, so we can actually go and test all the components, the gearbox. Right, it's going to be one of them. It's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be a lot of money and a lot of work to get it right, but we'll get it there. But yeah, right, I'm going to put this A-frame together. They're good kits, they've got everything in them. Oh, that ain't going to work. Yep, these are just really tight to go in, guys. Hang on. Usually they come in 2 parts. So they're usually a 2-piece bush. These are a 1-piece. And trust me, they are really tight. It's one of those. I've just done one of them, so and forgot to put the camera on. I thought it was rolling and it wasn't. So luckily I'll re-demonstrate by trying again without destroying it. Yeah, so you couldn't put these in without a vice or a press. Yeah. Done. They're tight, aren't they? Right, there's a metal piece to go in that sleeve. Sorted. Let's go and get them on the car. Always when I put these together, it's like, I have to put that the right way up. And the answer I think is yes. I think that's right. Yeah, it is right. It's going to be one of them days. I have to keep rethinking. Oh, I shouldn't be thinking. I'm told not to. I would have filmed taking that off, but I'd actually left the camera in the house. And Chris has turned up. There's his legs. Wave your feet, Chris. Just show me. There you go. But actually came off in one piece. Didn't have to chisel it apart or anything. A lot of heat to get the spigot cover out, to get to the bolt. Air gunned it off, and Chris is under there putting the new A-frame on. He's getting that A-frame on so that we can put the prop shaft on, and the rear's finished bar that damaged shock absorber. So then Chris has really got to get his finger out and get the front done. Yeah. Because I'm just leaving him to it.
Good. So. Learning.
I'm just going. Screw him.
Trying to get the beers.
Actually, what I'm doing is bringing toast. Karen's got the toaster on.
Hey, cool.
See, Karen treats us well.
Oh my god.
Well, it's looking good now. Christy's chucking stuff on the floor. Now he's got his hot rod.
And it's in hot rod red as well, isn't it?
Okay guys, I've finally got this prop on. We've actually, it wasn't too bad. The actual old rubber donut and carrier came out dead easy. As I've just shown you, it all came out in one piece. Plenty of heat and a big slide hammer got it apart. So this is the new prop shaft, so it's gone back to like a 200 TDI setup or the Land Rover Defender setup. But we've got this 50mm space. Is it 50mm? 50mm.
No, 15.
15.
10 or 15, I think.
No, it's 15. Sorry guys, it's a 15mm spacer from Adrenaline 4x4 in there to help correct the angle on the prop, because if you hadn't got the space you'd have this what's it angle, and this just corrects everything in the lift on this truck, because it's now got, well, it's got a 3-inch lift on the back. When the weight's in, it'll actually be a 2-inch lift. But this is just going to take the strain out of the UJs. So Chris is going to try this, see how it runs, and he'll come back to you and tell you how good it is or how bad it is. But it can't do any harm as far as I can see. So it literally will take all the stress out of these UJs. So hopefully good product. It's really well made though. So it's a piece of good engineering that.
We fit one on the L200, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we did fit one on the L200, didn't we? Yeah.
Spacer, which, that was a 10mm space, and that's gone fine. I had no issues with it.
Yeah.
No vibration or anything.
Well, I haven't got one of these in, so I'm interested to see how this runs. So I may be ordering one of these. In fact, I probably will be. There's I'm also going to be ordering. Let me get the light because it's not very bright under here. Is that A-frame ball joint? Now, what's the angles on that one, Chris?
45 degrees.
Yeah, it's a 45-degree angle A-frame ball joint, and I think I'm going to put one on.
It's also greasable as well.
Yeah, it's greasable and serviceable. That's from Gwyn Lewis, isn't it? That one.
Yeah.
About 60 quid.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so well worth having. I'm going to be definitely putting one of those on my truck. The I think mine's just about due for a new ball joint, so I'll just be getting the unit. And it might be really accessible soon.
Say no more.
Say no more. Teaser. Teaser, guys. Teaser. Right, let me carry on spannering. Have they been tightened up?
That madman's fucking 10-foot crowbars been on again.
I'm just lying here taking the front suspension apart, and I'm looking at this back axle. Now, we've got the 15mm spacer in from Adrenaline 4x4, and we've got the Gwyn Lewis 45-degree angle ball joint in the top of there. I know this isn't the best shot because it's backlit because the workshop doors are open, but that axle is sitting perfectly level. Now, that is how your axle should be sitting when you've done this sort of lift. Now let me take you out and go and show you mine. Now again, I know this isn't the best shot in the world, but if you have a look at my axle, it's actually facing upwards. So the pinion, let's see if I can show you better that way, that the pinion faces upwards instead of being level. So I'm going to have to change that ball joint up there, that one, and I'm going to have to put that spacer in to level my axle up, because I've got exactly the same caster correction arms in Chris has got, and his is sitting a lot better than mine. So you live and learn, and you find out new things, and you make things better. But yeah, just for that extra 15mm spacer and that ball joint will probably make those pinion bearings and everything and the angle of the prop shaft all live a lot longer. Now we were just saying, guys, that this 2-inch lift is getting to look like a 5-inch lift at the moment. That's a lot taller. Which would be
It's fucking level.
It's sitting level, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think you're right, but what percent extra inch in the back, like you said, because
yeah, when you got the weight in
that, yeah. So it's only very slightly lifted at the back. So
yeah, once you get some weight in the back. plus 2-inch shock, heavy duty. There's no steering attached at the moment, guys, so everything's wobbling around, but and we had to cut that bolt off, as you saw. But other than that, that is actually sitting on its own. There's no jacks under that car now. Well, except for that side, but it doesn't actually have a wheel on it. But that would make it lower. So we've got the terra firma extended brake pipes on. I just need a cable tie to move it up out the way, because it's going to rub on that panhard rod. Yeah, we'll just get a cable tie to pull that out of the way. But yeah. Wow. Now that's what it looks like on a set of 33s. We can get 35s on this. Let's get some 35s. I've got a set of 35s.
They said it weren't that much bigger, were they?
No, 35s.
Surprisingly, they're not that much bigger than
No, when you put the 35s next to these, there's, well, funnily enough, there's about 2 inches in it, but there isn't. There isn't. Because they've got, you know, X amount of thousands of miles of wear on them.
Yeah, and like I said, for the feasibility of what we're going to do, is being able to get, if you went through enough tyres, that you had that situation of trying to run,
I mean,
buy a tyre while you're...
We've gone for, on this, is that Chris has got, because he couldn't get the same size tyres as me, and everyone who's been messaging has said they've had the same problem, that they can't get the Toyo tyres.
Yeah.
So
Toyo, just the Toyo guys, they just say it's a case of when they have enough orders, they basically, when the back orders build up, they'll put an order in. But
which basically, get your finger out, Toyo.
Yeah.
People want your tyres, but you're just not selling them.
You're not bringing the big tyres in.
Someone else commented the other day that they wanted the Toyos, but they've gone with the KM3s. So you know, it's Toyo's loss at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. We think, I mean, they're awesome tyres.
I mean, you would have gone for something else if you hadn't gone for these, because basically what Chris did was go for an Imperial size, because I found a place that got Imperials in stock. So these are 33, 12, 5, 15s, and the ones on mine are 30, I can't remember, 305 70 16s. So they're a slightly bigger rim with less tyre wall, but the tyres are almost identical. But Jesus, that looks huge. It's insane. Right, let's get this other side done and get these rods together, because we're not far off finished, really. Yeah. Right, let's rip that other side apart, because we've only got to take the spring and shock off. Yeah, and I'll spend all night on it. No, I'll get it done. Just if you need to go, you need to go. I'll get it done, don't worry. When you come in the morning, it will be finished. You know, I'm coming back out in the morning. Well, I'm cracking on with this. Chris went home quite a while ago. It's about 8 o'clock at night now, and I'm just wrapping up the suspension, because I said I'd get all the bits done for the morning. I've just started by putting on this drag link. We're going to have to put the RTC on in the morning, because I've got to cut this. Can you actually see that? Because I'm behind the camera at the moment. Oh, you can, yeah. No. I've got to cut this tie down off to get the RTC on. I think you can get it on without cutting it off, but I know I ended up cutting it off on mine. So that that tie down's got to go away for the RTC. The Adrenaline 4x4 drag link adjustable panhard rods in. That's rather nice. And I think these are from Adrenaline as well. I think Chris ordered them from the same place. So let's just bring it around. I think these are all from Adrenaline. I will check with Chris in the morning, because I don't know where he ordered all the bits from, but as he ordered that from Adrenaline, I think they came from Adrenaline as well. They look very similar to the ones on Grey Worm, so I'm assuming that's where they came from. Definitely solid anyway. So I've just got the rear one to do, and then I can put the wheel on, and we'll wrap this up in the morning. Now, as I'm just putting these together, I just thought I'd show you just how we do them, just to get them in the ballpark, because we've got to drive this up to get it sorted, get all the, it's got to have a 4-wheel track done on it. So it's a left-handed nut. Don't try, you can spend ages trying to wind a left-handed nut on. But all we do is take the old ones off. Obviously we take the old ones off, and before we scrap them or damage them, we just use them for rough measurements. We just use the centre alignment, so just do centre to centre. Just need to wipe a bit of grease in there. I've got some grease somewhere. Ah, there you go. Wind it all the way in. Just had to wind it in and out a couple of times just to clean the thread out. So yeah, where was I? Right, put the other end in. So, literally all I'm going to do, I've wound these all the way in, so I want them facing the right, both the same way. Now, I want to go the same amount of turns, so if I go one full turn on that one, I want to go one full turn on that one. You don't want to put all the adjustment on one side, you want to make it nice and even. So at the moment we'll go wrong way, left-handed thread, back in again, in for there, one full turn, and just get the centre of this. This isn't going to be exact, but it's going to get you in the ballpark. So I'm a good couple of turns at least short yet. Left-handed thread on that side, so keep remembering that. Actually, that's pretty good. Look at that. One in the centre. One in the centre. They're pretty close. So now it's just a case of dropping it on and seeing how far the steering wheel's out. If the steering wheel's roughly where it should be, we're not far off. But that's going to get that on. Right, I'm going to put that on.
Morning guys, so it's Monday morning, I'm back. Paul has just carried on through the night, you guys, just a legend. So he's basically finished, so all we've got to do now is we're going to fit this Terra Firma RTC on. Now we've got the entire video when Paul fitted one on his, so if you want the actual full step-by-step instructions on how to fit those, just jump on and find that video. But first thing I'm going to do is basically grind this old, basically, tow hook off. Now the kit actually comes, if you watch that video, the kit does come with some spacers, so you don't need to grind it off. But you know, me and Paul have to do things properly, so we're going to cut the whole thing off so it fits nice and flush. And so I'm getting the grinder out. He's going to be back in about 20 minutes, and we'll carry on, get this RTC on, and we're almost done. Throw the wheel back on, put the bumper on. Then I'm going to basically get it down to the tyre place, get the tyres all checked out, the alignment, and yeah, we're good to go. So I am pumped at the moment, waiting to drive this thing.
Oh, well, I've been away. Chrissy's been busy. He's got the RTC on.
Yeah, with a bit of help.
Yeah, I'm just going to torque the wheels up now, guys. And that's it. Look how it sits.
Flat, can't it?
Yeah, it's level, that is.
It's level. Brilliant.
Secure that, put some weight on it. Yeah, they probably will be, didn't he, bleeding? Does it feel a bit different?
It feels very hard.
Yeah. That would just bleed those brakes in. Well, it looks better. Sits better. That'll suit the floor, roll it back and we'll just bleed these brakes.
Guys, that has been one hell of a 2.5. I forgot to say, not again.
I keep dropping the cans.
Guys, that has been one hell of a 2.5 days. I've said this before. if I'd met Paul, I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff. He's like basically the dad or the big brother I never had. I love the guy to bits, you know that. I love what we do. I soak everything up like sponge when he's talking. I basically hang on every word. And
I just forget it after.
It's brilliant. I'm absolutely chuffed to bits. It's like I said in the beginning of this video, this is not a budget build. You know, I've spent a lot of money so far, but I want to build something that's going to last me, you know, for many, many years into the future now. It's going to take me, Ange, and the kids when they want to come on trips, and then when it gets to the point the kids aren't interested, we can get rid of the back seats and have a bit more storage, because that's the kind of issue at the moment, is how we're going to get enough storage on board. But we've got some ideas afoot as to what we're going to do to allow me to carry enough gear if we do long trips. But that's gone well, hasn't it?
It's gone together pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, we had an hiccup with the spring, with the shock.
Yeah. We had a bugger with a couple of bolts, getting them out.
We broke a couple. We had to cut a couple of bolts, but we have plenty of spares lying around.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we cut a lot of stuff off because we cut through the springs, we cut shocks off because they're not going to be reused, and it's a lot quicker than messing about trying to undo them. And we're on a time scale. We often are when we film these videos, guys. This
spanner works a lot quicker than.
Yeah, this is not probably the most tutorial type video, because we just had to get this done, because I needed to get this back on the road. I've got to go and get it all.
He needs to go work.
Yeah, I've got to go back to work to make money. I keep taking Paul away from work. So I'm going to give you a quick walk around of what we've done. But again, this has been built for overlanding, so it's not like Grey Worm that is being built for, you know, the kind of extreme off-roading fun that will break some stuff and repair it. This is being built so that it hopefully won't break on a strenuous journey, because the last thing we need to be doing is spannering it, but we can do if necessary.
Well, now you're going to find the weak points in the running gear, because you've now put more stress on everything with the bigger tyres and everything. So this is where you're going to find out where the weak points are.
That's what we said. You modify one thing, you're going to then have to modify something else. You'll keep modifying until you get to something like Paul's got, when he's finally gone through everything.
And as you saw, you know, earlier in this video, I'm now going to have to adjust my rear diff. Yeah, because I've just found something out. So there you go.
So
Live and learn.
Constantly learning all the time. So right, let's guys, I'll show you a quick walk around as to what we've actually done. Right guys, so on the front, terra firma RTC, a return to centre. We've fitted that. We've got the Adrenaline drag links with all the new ball joints they came with. The Adrenaline 4x4 rose jointed adjustable panhard rod. And then we've also got from Paddocks, we've got the caster corrected radius arms, terra firma springs, the heavy duty springs to give us the 2-inch lift, plus the Expedition shocks, the big ball shocks. Okay, we've gone for those because Paul's gone through different shocks over the last couple of years, tested them out in the Pyrenees and green laning as we've done, and he's by far happiest with those because they give a lot more stabilisation to such a big heavy vehicle, especially when you've got those big roof tents on the top. So on the rear, we fitted Super Pro bushers all the way round, and actually realised that Paul makes it look a lot easier fitting those than it actually is. We've put a new A-frame ball joint, which is the wide-angled ball joint from Gwyn Lewis on the rear, which has made a massive difference, and Paul talked about that earlier in the video. We put the 15mm spacer in on the prop because we've changed the prop to the 200 TDI stroke Defender prop, which gets rid of that rubber donut. Obviously then terra firma 2-inch springs with the big bore shocks. We've obviously put extended stainless steel brake pipes all around to allow for that lift that we've done on it. And then we've got finally the 33 by 12.5 by 15-inch Toyo open country mud terrain tyres on. And there's a wrapped around the steel Gojo wheels with the 32mm offset on them. And guys, it is freaking awesome. Obviously on that we've put trailing arms, again the caster corrected trailing arms for the lift, so everything has been done for the 2-inch lift. So unlike Grey Worm, you've seen the videos on Grey Worm where it's basically partially done, we've corrected everything that needs correcting at this stage. The only thing we might do in addition to that is fit basically a sway bar setup that Foundry 4x4 do, but what we're going to do is just kind of see now how this drives, what the kind of roll is, see once we've got things like the roof tent on top, the extra weight, and we'll just kind of see before I make a decision on that. And the only things to come, next job is going to be fitting the winch bumper from Dixon Fabrication, and we didn't fit the steering guard, which I do have, simply because it's going to need a bit of chopping around to allow for that terra firma RTC. We've got a winch bumper going on the rear. I'm not going to say any more about that because it might give the game away, but I've already got that line behind me somewhere. And guys, that is pretty much it for these first modifications. So hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to stick comments down below, tell us what you think, any suggestions, stuff like that. Stay tuned because there's going to be a lot more happening, and of course don't forget to pop over to the shop. We've got the t-shirts, we've got the stickers, every little bit helps us out. So guys, we're going to be at the 4x4 Expo. We're going to be going around interviewing a few of the traders and everything like that. Come and say hi, let us know what you think. It's always nice to see you guys while you're there. It's the one in Staffordshire, and see you all soon.